Hey, this is Trader Magnus, and I am a dwarf who has stood on the shoulders of giants. I'm talking about my Let's Play of Super C for the NES. I watched a part of the Let's Play Spring something or other on the socksmakepeoplesexy.net forums, and was inspired to give this game a shot. It's really not as difficult as people make it out to be, at least when you can use a turbo button. And I'd say that probably, well, it's a lesson that I keep learning in video games, that there's really no reason to ever be intimidated by them. Because at the very least, you're just gonna get a game over screen. So why not, try something new and give it a shot? Which is what I tried to do here yesterday. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of great commentary to give regarding Super C or any Contra games, just because I don't have any real history with them, aside from playing Hardcore Uprising from, was it a couple of years ago now? And that game and then Super C are they're totally different. It's apples and oranges, trying to compare the two. Yeah, thank God for turbo buttons. I don't know how people used to play this back in the day on regular old NES. Just makes my thumb hurt thinking about it. The one thing that I will say is that they sure don't make games like Super C anymore, and that's probably for good reason. It just really seems like the textbook definition of a quarter muncher, which, considering that it was designed originally as an arcade game, makes a lot of sense. A lot of the traps and gotcha moments and stuff seem pretty cheap, and the only way to really deal with them is just muscle memory or knowledge, or both. So in the Let's Play competition, they had some achievements like killing every guy on the screen and picking up every single power-up, which sounds really cool. To anybody who can pull it off, that's fantastic. That's definitely not me, though. I think I tried to stick to the spirit of that, but I gave it up pretty quick. So yeah, basically this game is a bunch of shooting and stuff, and yeah, the spread is probably the best gun in my experience, obviously. Yeah. I guess I had fun playing this for a couple hours the other day. It was pretty different compared to some of the other stuff that I've been playing recently. Although I was playing Alien Breed, which is a PC game on the Steam platform, and it's got kind of top-down shooting, sort of similar to this. Not quite as arcadey, though. Yeah, this spread gun is probably really, really overpowered. So I think by this time I was starting to feel pretty cocky, like this game really, didn't have too much going on in terms of actual difficulty. That'll probably change here pretty quick. Of course I say that again as I was blatantly abusing the turbo button. I did like this part particularly just because it felt maybe the closest that a game has made me feel to like being Rambo. Although I guess I could probably play... I'm sure that there was some pretty shitty Rambo games made. I should probably go through my ROM folder and take a look for those. I'm pretty glad that game design has moved a lot further away from this, with enemies that kind of make more sense than guys in jumpsuits just running at you. I did like this boss though, just because the idea of jumping up on top of him when pretty much anything else that touches you kills you seemed really amusing to me. It's a shame that you couldn't just like pop the hatch open and like kill whoever was in there, but that probably would have been just too easy. Now this part, this is like where I could see myself in an arcade putting in like $3 worth of quarters or something just to keep going. It's really cheap. Some of my practice runs, yeah, this was basically game over. Lucky to grab that spread there. And yeah, just moving as slow as possible, trying to trigger those platform drops well in advance. I do like how random this boss was. It's just some big metal construction with turrets on it that just pops up out of nowhere. Is it supposed to be some kind of like gate or something? I don't know. Going back to my game design improving comments from earlier, bosses that fit in the environment are something that I have a newfound appreciation for, that I'd taken for granted in the past. I'm still not even sure if you need to kill those turrets or not to actually destroy the final boss, but I also like how this part doesn't have any type of transition or anything, whereas the previous zones had you walking out with like footsteps and everything. So this hallway is, yeah, this is where I started to really get schooled by bubbles and guys in more tracksuits just running at me. And these guys, they don't even hold guns, so I don't know. Here's another, you know, put another quarter in moment. I think that games these days still do cheap stuff like that, but I think that they at least try and reward somebody who's paying attention, give them a little bit of a heads up through like environmental cues or something that that's coming. good example of that I can pull from would be like Dark Souls, where you walk on a bridge and there's this big scorched area for no reason, and then as you're making your way across, big old dragon just swoops down and basically, yeah, carpet bombs the whole thing. Pretty obvious if you're looking at the ground. Falling platforms in Super C, on the other hand, not so much. And yeah, it was a real great move on my part. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking as I did that, but I was not happy with myself. Yeah, this hallway was really a load of shit, looking back on it. Let's see, I barely remembered to get out of the way that time. So I'm kind of improving, sort of. Of course, if you're watching the timeline of the video, well, you can probably guess how short-lived that success actually is. Didn't learn from that one. So I guess I can see why people would have nostalgia for a game like this. I think what I'll probably do after playing this is maybe go back to hardcore, give that a shot on the easy mode or whatever, where you can start over at each stage and have your double and triple jump boosts and auto fire and all that good stuff. And that's pretty much me playing Super C. Thanks for listening.